is INCRadio DZEM 954, the voice of truth, the official radio station of the Church of Christ or Iglesianicristo.
Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. Welcome to New Jersey Satellite Studio, where we show you the flavor of life here in the District of New Jersey. Welcome back to INCRadio New Jersey Satellite Studio. Today, we're talking with college grads who are going to give us tips on how they narrow down and pick their college majors. And honestly, everyone, I'm super excited because these are two of my favorite people on the planet. And actually, you're some of my favorite people on the planet, so that's why we enjoy having you tune in. So before we get started, we have some questions for you, Team Live Chat. So question number one, what did you study? And we always say, what did you study? Because some people went to college, some people took other careers. What did you study and what did you think that your career was going to be? Why did you pick it? What inspired you for that? What eventually became your career? Because we know, and we're going to hear about it, where a lot of people started out doing one thing and then they ended up doing another thing. And do you have any advice? So once again, we're going to be talking about college grads, especially since it's graduation time. But we know there's all kinds of things that we can do with our careers, all kinds of ways that we can start out, and all kinds of journeys and paths that we can be on. Isn't that right, Leia? So let me toss it over to you.
Hey, Jeff, you're absolutely right. Just thinking of my own college journey and what I do now, this is not what I imagined my professional career would be or my hobbies. There's a lot of changes in life, especially with technology. When we have more convenience, we change our minds, et cetera, et cetera. But we are going to have an awesome conversation today, as we always do, because it's going to be super fun. We have two friends with us. First up, we have Shay Diane Apalacho, all the way from Philadelphia. Just a little bit of background. She is a data analyst for an automation company, and she majored, her final major, I'm going to mention that, her final major, last but not least, business administration with concentration in data analytics. What a mouthful. Like my mouth is kind of, need to stretch it out a little bit. All right. Now our not only our mouths are going to be stretched out today, but our mind as well, because we also have Leila San Aman from Bayonne. She is a clerk for a foreign government managing domestic properties. What does that even mean? I'm so excited to be able to, well, we'll find out a little bit more about that. But she majored in law at Nagoya University. I've had to practice that so many times because, when we fly through the airport, it's Nagoya. But when you talk to Leila, it's Nagoya. So let's say hi to them. Good morning, Diane. How are you?
Good morning, Leia. I'm doing really good. How are you doing?
I'm really hot. It's hot here in the home studio. So hopefully my fan isn't going to be making too much noise during our show. And of course, we have to say hello to Leila. Unfortunately, I didn't look up how to say hello. Wait. Diane knows how to say hello in Japanese. How do you say hello in Japanese, Diane?
I believe it's konnichiwa.
So, konnichiwa, Leila. Welcome to the show. How are you?
I'm doing well. Hello to you too, Leia, and to Diane as well. Let's start things off with a little bit of an introduction in Japanese. So, 皆さん、こんにちは。私はセントマンドリーラと言います。今日はどうぞよろしくお願いします。
Oh, we all have to bow.
That was so cool. Y'all didn't even know. That's so cool.
Wait, what just happened? What did you just say?
So I said, nice to meet you. My name is Leila Saint-Amand, and it's a pleasure to be speaking with you all today.
Okay, can you say it one more time? Because I didn't hear all the words. All I saw were the eyebrows going up. I was like, is that required? when you're speaking in Japanese to have your eyebrows go up as well? Let's hear it again. What I don't want you to be self-conscious, Jeff. I mean, Layla.
Okay, one more time. So,
Okay.
はじめまして。私の名前はセントアマンドリラです。今日はどうぞよろしくお願いします。
Oh, good mouth. To say hello.
That's so cool. That's so cool. Ah,
All right. Okay. It is so cool. And hopefully we'll see Layla back on the show to teach us a little bit about Japanese culture. Food, of course, we're always up for, and maybe teach us a little Japanese. Okay. So starting with Diane, how many years ago did you graduate college? And was the college major that you finished with the one you picked from the beginning?
Yeah, so I graduated just 2 years ago, and no, the major that I majored in was not the original pick that I first decided on.
Okay. What about you, Layla?
I graduated almost 4 years ago, and I stayed with my major all the way through.
Wow, that's commitment. Good for you. But it happens in different ways. Okay, so back to you, Diane. Are you doing what you expected to do with your degree?
Yes, I am actually.
Oh, that's great. Okay, now Layla, are you doing what you expected to do? I have law. You majored in law at Nagoya University. Are you doing that now? Whatever it was.
I'm not doing what I expected.
And that's a natural progression of life. I think you have to go with the flow. Yeah, 4 years ago was during the pandemic. You graduated during the pandemic, and so did you, Diane. You both graduated during the pandemic. Wow. Okay, so that really is a show of fortitude and resilience because we all know that was a tough time. Okay, so let's delve in a little bit with Diane. Since she didn't start off with business administration. So can you just walk us through the majors that you had?
Yes, so I was trying to do accounting. I also tried nursing, and I also tried fashion merchandising, and and then I ended up in business administration.
So can you tell us what made you change your mind? Like what were the I guess the game changers for those majors?
So I spoke with some of the older adults, and they were basically telling me, yeah, either be an accountant or be a nurse, and because they make good money, and they wanted me to kind of have a good like life. So they're like, yeah, you should go where the money is.
Go where the money is. Are you making money now?
Yes.
and you can tell by the way that she said it, she's comfortable.
Okay, so you got advice to start the accounting. Are you good at math?
Yes, I am good at math. I actually my experience with accounting. So my professor, it was my accounting 101 class, and he was saying, oh, if you want to do something like this for the rest of your life, and he was like very monotone, very boring. Like I was like, I don't know if this is for me because I felt like I was falling asleep and I was like not interested. So I was like, I don't think I want to do this for the rest of my life. So I kind of like, okay, I have to rethink like what are my strengths? What am I good at? And I'm also good at science. So I was like, well, maybe I should pursue something in the medical. And everyone's encouraging me, oh yeah, you should become a nurse. And especially in the Filipino community, that's what they want us to be. So I was like, okay, yeah, why not try it out? I did my prerequisites. I took all those science classes. I even got into the nursing program, and I did a semester of nursing. And I know it's like really hard. I know everyone who is a nursing student it's amazing if you get into the program because it's very competitive. So yeah, so that's what happened, and then other things happened too because nursing is very stressful. I noticed that in my studies, like I was actually losing a lot of hair because I was like stressed out. Like I had like this much hair, like every time I showered that I lost. So I knew that I was stressed out, and I had to kind of reevaluate my life.
Yeah. No, it happens. And that's like a stark, like a red flag right there.
And if you know
But
Diane, you know she's got lots of hair.
we can tell. We can tell. She
Yeah.
has thick hair. So yeah, absolutely. I mean, when your body shows signs of stress, that's a definite indication, hair loss in large amounts like that. So after that was fashion merchandising. So what made you decide about fashion merchandising and then move away from it?
Yeah. So when I realized like, oh yeah, nursing's not for me, what am I like really passionate about? Like what makes me happy? Who am I? And I'm really interested in fashion. Like that was like my thing. And I was like, okay, I think I'll major in something that I'm passionate about. So I went to fashion merchandising, and I really enjoyed it. And then it came to the point where the classes became like it wasn't working with my schedule, because I sing for the church, and that was like my priority, which is like serving God, because I love God, and I want to do works that makes Him happy, and I didn't want to forgo that. I really thought about it because um, like, do I really want to miss out on my performances, or do I, you know, pursue this? So I was like, maybe there's another outlet. Maybe like I can go something more like generalized, and then I could get into fashion in the future. So then that's when I decided, maybe I should go into business.
Wow, what a journey. And it seemed like it was a few years. So you didn't have the traditional 4-year degree, right? Because but as we know, when you change majors in school, you have to restart and take a whole set of other classes. So,
Yeah.
it's not just money, it's time. So you really have to be thoughtful. And it sounds like you were. Obviously, you could not finish nursing when you were already stressed out just in like classes and clinicals, even though you're obviously smart enough to get into all these programs, to get into university, and to maintain enough of a high GPA so that you could comfortably transfer over to another major, right? Because you have to be accepted. It's not like you're like, hey, they have other requirements. Every department has requirements before you can actually get in. For those of you who don't know the college process, yeah, you have to get accepted, and they evaluate you, and they say, we don't think you're a good match for this program, even though you're this, because you're this one class you did terribly in, and that's like a core class. So wow, Diane, that was mm. So how do you know how to speak Japanese? Just to throw a curveball from the left. You said you know a little Japanese when we were talking before the show started. How did you learn Japanese?
Oh, me?
Man, yeah.
Oh, I took Japanese or Nihongo freshman year of high school, actually. Yes.
Wow, and you remember all that stuff from way back when. Okay. All right. Now on to Layla. So Layla, you were just like straight through, no doubts, nothing. How did your passion for one Japanese? I mean, you went to a university in Japan.
Mhm.
I know we're not going to talk about the application process because it's quite complicated, but how did your love for Japanese grow? And we just want to know why you weren't deterred, you know? Or were you considering other things, or was it always law in Japan or Japanese? Go ahead.
So let's start with why I studied Japanese. I went to a high school that had a Japanese language program. So I spent 4 years learning about Japanese language and culture. And I applied to that for two main reasons. One is that I have some family that lives in Japan. One of my aunts and my cousins are there. And I like manga and anime, which are Japanese comics and cartoons. So it used to be I was in elementary school and I would have them on TV at like 9 o'clock at night right before bed. And I'm like, this is cool. Like, I want to learn more about it. So I went to Japanese high school. And while I was in high school, there was this competition, Japanese language and culture quiz bowl. And when we weren't competing, they had like a booth for us to go to where we found out about Japanese universities opening up programs to international students offered in English. So I was like, okay. And actually didn't decide to go to Japan at all until almost the end of your time to decide. So around my junior or third year of high school and into the winter of my senior year. So pretty late in terms of like thinking about it for some people. But yeah, and so why law in Japan is the next question, right?
Yeah.
All right.
Yep.
So as I was getting into manga and anime, I'm like, oh, okay, so let me look it up online. Oh, there's stuff here. I can read this. I can watch that. And as I was into it, I found out that at least outside of Japan, a lot of people consume it through bootleg versions. So they're not official. They're not, so what that means, they're not like endorsed by the company, but a lot of people want to help it spread to other parts of the world. And so you'd often see a tag like, when this becomes official in your region, let's support it, right? So we have to help the authors and everyone that went into making it. And I thought, I really want to be a part of that. So how can we help the environment for international translations and publications and, you know, like moving books across the world? And so I'm like, you know what? I am going to go study law in Japan and I'll work for a Japanese comics company and I'll work on changing things from the inside.
That is such a noble task. And just you describing the process, like my brain was really like, oh, very cerebral. Very. I mean, law is that way. You need a lot of brain cells to figure out how to change piracy laws. So that's funny. I haven't heard bootlegging in a long time, but yeah, you know, those illegal recordings.
Or sharings, you know.
Yeah,
We don't advise anyone to do anything illegal, but
we're not
if you have
promoting.
something
Yeah.
cool, you can share it with your friends.
Sometimes you just can't wait till the movie comes out, you know, in the United States or yeah, on the internet. So yeah, so that's awesome, Layla. And I just want to ask, how old were you when you started reading manga or Japanese comic books? How young were you?
Elementary school, middle school, maybe like 9 or 10.
Wow. So this is really a passion, like a real love, not just a hobby that you do for fun, but a passion. That's amazing. So it started off at 9. I was going to say, I'm sure you were very good at math while you were young, Diane. I don't want to leave you out of the conversation either.
And
Actually,
fashion, she likes
yeah.
fashion. Yeah. And they both have a lot of hair, so.
Yeah. My classmates usually ask me for homework help for math problems. Even my other my friends everywhere, everyone just asks me. I'm like, why me?
Because you're fast at it. Maybe we'll ask you when it's time to learn new math. But you do also use a lot of math in your jobs, data analytics, right?
Kind of, sort of. It's like big data, so a lot of text and crunching numbers. Yeah.
So math never goes away. So for our young viewers who hate algebra, trigonometry, calculus, math never goes away. You thinking in school, when am I ever going to use this sine, cosine, and these graphs? And this is where, not just in college, not just in high school, but also in your work life, possibly. Okay, so let's hear a little bit about college. I mean, Diane, you've had a long journey through college. So did you work while you went to school?
Yes, I was working. I was working full time actually throughout school. There was at one point where my schedule was like wake up 5 a.m., work 6 to 2:30, and then after work go to do your classes, and and then start the cycle again. And I would have like 5 hours of sleep.
Wow. For a long time, right? How many years was that? But was that your only one job? I know we're not going to mention the company, but you worked for a car sales company.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, an online car sales company. So was that your only job?
No, I had jobs previously before that as well. And also, when I was a nursing student, I couldn't work full time because I had to focus on clinicals. So I actually made lumpia and sold that.
Egg rolls. You made egg rolls at home.
Oh, sorry. Yeah.
Yeah. I was just saying, for those of you who don't know what that is, it's a Filipino egg roll. That's a lot of egg rolls.
And for
To
those of you who don't know about Filipino egg rolls,
Yeah.
come visit. You're missing out.
yeah, go to your nearest Filipino restaurant or ask your Filipino friends to take you and give you some lumpia Shanghai. So not sariwa. Yeah, that one has all the veggies. So we're
That
talking
helped
about,
me with my gas money going to classes and everything.
wow. So you also had other retail jobs, right, during college? I mean, college was a long time.
Yeah, I also worked in fast food. I worked at Five Guys too.
Oh, not endorsing, not promoting. That's okay. We worked in fast food. That's okay. You worked at a burger spot. All right. Yeah, we're not promoting that company, but they do make delicious burgers and fries.
But
Okay.
no lumpia. Yeah.
Yeah, no lumpia there. So so is that it? Are all those the jobs that you worked?
I was also a cashier for a bakery
Okay.
and also like a store. Yeah.
Wow. And all the while you were still in the church choir, right?
Yes. Oh,
Yeah.
and my very first job, I was a math grader.
A what?
A math grader.
You graded math?
Yeah,
Because she
like
was great at math.
No, she graded math, Jeff. I'm
like
so
problems,
confused.
like papers.
What? Oh, okay. In college or like who were you grading?
Yeah, it's like a place where students kind of progress
tutoring?
more in their skills in math.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. All right. We're gonna switch over to overseas. I was gonna say, I really wish I had time to learn some Japanese, so we could have talked to Layla a little more. All right, Layla. I know you did a lot of odd job work part time while you were in school in Japan. So let's hear the list.
Okay, like Diane, I started and stopped jobs based off of my schedule. So
Wait, let's also say you were also in the church choir, right?
yes.
Yes. Okay. So you were in Japan. We don't have time to talk about that experience, but hopefully you end up coming. So, I know a lot of people have questions like, wow, you went to Japan, you were singing in Japan. Okay.
So
So
I got a
let's
ton
start
of
off.
questions. So a future episode.
All right. On the list, I did private tutoring both as an individual and I worked for like after school English conversation where people could come to like talk with a native speaker. I did translation. It was really boring. It was a lot of machine manuals. I was a waitress at a Turkish restaurant. I worked in a bread factory on the night shifts. And I also did like research assistant for my professor during the summer. And other odds and ends, they had foreign students do like tourism tours. They brought us to different cities and they asked us to like go to the museum or try this and that, and we'd help the city government figure out like, oh, like do you think that tourists would be interested in coming here? So I
Okay.
think that's everything.
All right.
I almost ran out of fingers.
I was
'cause
gonna say
it's-
Jeff almost
Yeah.
almost ran out of fingers. I was about to start using my fingers. Okay. That is a lot. That's intense. I can imagine. And all the while you're speaking mostly Japanese, some English, some Tagalog while you're living there. So I just feel like my brain cells are just like, oh, my brain's starting to get sore a little bit just imagining that. Yeah. Okay. So you guys, I admire you both so much. You know, you provided for yourselves so that you didn't have to ask your parents for so much money. I know we always need our parents, especially when we're young, to help us finance our education. But I applaud you guys for really putting in effort to support yourselves. You know, to pay for your cell phone bills. I'm sure you. I was like, that's always the number one thing. How am I gonna pay for my cell phone? Like that's like the number one thing I think everyone cannot live without anymore is your cell phone. So kind of expensive. So so just changing gears a little bit, what are your tips for anyone trying to choose their major, or if anyone is thinking of changing their mind, right, Jeff?
Yep. Or
Changing-
changing their country even. So
Yeah, the world is so small now because of technology. So let's start off with Diane. Diane, what are your tips for those who need help choosing a major?
So I know originally I was picking my major based on like you know the money and like how much I was gonna make, but I realized that if you're not passionate about something or like it's not really your interest, um, that doesn't matter. That stuff doesn't matter. You pick something that makes you feel fulfilled, and I feel like the money will come. Like do something that you're happy to do because this is going to be a career that you're going to do for the rest of your life. And so like other factors, like other people's opinions, they don't really know what's happening with you internally and what your strengths are, what's your weaknesses. So I feel that you should be confident in picking your own major, outside of the fact that other people are telling you. They could advise you, but at the end of the day, it's your decision.
That's
I guess
true.
I
It's
guess
your
the clapping
decision.
emoji.
It's your decision, and ultimately you're going to have to live with whatever it is that that you chose. So thankfully that accounting professor was super boring, because then you'd probably have a super boring job. Like you probably want to quit every day that you go, like, oh, I can't believe this is my job. So I mean, but again, it's different for everyone. And so with that, we're going to go over to Layla. So Layla, what are your tips for anyone? Yeah, this thing about living abroad is like so amazing, and it's so doable now. When I was growing up, it was not, right, Jeff? When we were in high school, I was like going overseas was such a big thing. Like like my parents were so worried they couldn't find me, and
Hmm.
who to contact. But now we don't have that problem. Like, so what is your advice, Layla, about those who want to pick a college major?
So my advice, I went straight into pursuing my passions. And so my advice is to pick something that you enjoy, but maybe that's not your favorite thing. And the reason is because for me, at the end of my 4 years in college, like I couldn't enjoy my hobbies anymore. So I spent I went into college because I loved manga and anime, but at the end of it, I couldn't read manga, I couldn't watch anime without thinking about laws, without thinking about translations. And it kind of stopped me from being able to enjoy something that I loved. And so I did take a little bit of a break from like watching it. I found other things to do, of course, right? Like other hobbies. So always good to have something to relax with. But you don't have to pursue like your number one most favorite thing. For some people, it's a great way to work, right? Like, if you do something that you love, it feels like you're not working. It's not the same for everyone. Some people, you might think that, like, I want to do something that I like, and you find that it's not for you, and that's fine. Like, I ended up changing. I like where I am now. And my other piece of advice is that it's always okay to ask for help from your family, from people around you. Like, I worked a lot of part time jobs in college. I was in a church choir, and I was trying my best to stay on top of my classes, and I got sick from overwork. It's okay to like take a step back and be like, I can't do this on my own. Is there anyone else that I can reach out to?
Wow, I feel like we needed to have like 3 seconds of silence, Jeff, because that's pretty that's heavy, but
It
it's
really is.
so but
Yeah.
it's so real. Welcome to your adult life. I see that hashtag all the time when I have to make difficult decisions. Like, oh, I wish my parents were here to do this for me.
It's hard. It's especially if you have to provide like just cooking for yourself and then cleaning up like that.
Mm-hmm.
That alone is just a chore.
Yeah, grocery shopping is so tiring, and then your energy gets drained with dealing with people at the grocery store, and then having to do the math, and then the budget. It's a lot, and then you're trying to also you're in college. I mean, where I was like, now it's not as hard. It's still annoying maybe, but it's not as hard, right? But when you're trying to, you have to get to study or to get to class, and you have to do it like this. There's no time. Wow, it's a lot of stress. It's a lot of stress. So, rounding out our discussion, since we're coming to a close, I just looked at the time. We don't want to run out. Um, what helped get you through those difficult times? Did you do spas? Did you do any sports? Did you exercise? Did you talk to family? Like how did I don't want to say the most difficult time, but the struggles that you face, especially with Diane. I mean, changing your mind 3 times. I can't even imagine, like, you know if your parents spoke to you, like, do you know what you're doing? A lot of people would be like, you're so lost. They have people have a lot of opinions. Let's just say that sometimes it's good to get feedback, right? Because sometimes you're not aware. But how did you get through difficult times in college?
So yeah, it actually was a lot of pressure to try to finish because, like I felt like a failure because I'm like, how come I don't know what I want to do? I like, well, how come I'm going like different directions? And I see other people, they're just graduating and they're, you know, they just went straight and like it seems like their life is good and everything, but um, I just I really had to take a step back but I had support from my friends and my family, like for example, if there was if someone made food, they would give me food and I would have something to eat that night, because that's a very big help, because to like I said, like it's like food, sometimes I didn't even have things to eat, I just went to sleep. um so yeah, it was very difficult because there was this pressure and I felt like I wasn't moving forward, but through my reliance on God, and I prayed, through prayer, I was able to push through, and that's what I'm thankful for. And that's what helped me get through my difficulties, because every time I was having a hard time, I would, God will take care of you. No matter what happens, like he'll always be there to guide you through life. And for we don't know our own timeline, but God knows the path where what you should take.
Wow, that's really encouraging, Diane, not just for college, but for anyone in life. Thanks for that. What about you, Layla? How did you get through those difficulties? You had a lot of jobs. I mean, an overnight shift is hard. Like, were you not falling asleep while you were like on the conveyor belt stuffing and, you know, like that? And it wasn't like 2 hours. It was like how many? 6 hours?
It was an overnight shift, so it was 6 p.m. to 5 a.m.
Wow.
That's
So it
almost
was
12 hours on your
11
feet.
hours, yes.
You're standing, right? You're standing?
Primarily standing the whole time, yes.
Okay.
Minus 1 hour lunch, dinner break at like 9 to 10 p.m.
Okay, so I don't know if that was your most difficult time, but how did you get through your most difficult times in college?
I spent like opening up to other people. Like part of the reason that I was working so hard is because I didn't want to ask my family for money, because I have younger sisters and I thought, of course my parents should spend time with them, and they're so much younger than me, they can't provide for themselves yet. And so, I talked with my like parents about like how do I feel, with my friends that were there with me at school, and even my professor, because it comes up like your advisor. You're like, oh, like how's your day? I'm like, yeah, I'm working because I need money and stuff like that. And they're like, okay, just don't work too hard. And so, like opening up to people about what I was going through and like getting their support and hearing opinions. Sometimes some of your problems are like in your head and you just need someone from the outside to let you know it's like, you don't have to struggle on your own, or there might be another way that you can get help. And yeah, I think for me throughout college, it was like the start of my journey of learning how to like ask for help from others. And it really helps me now, like to this day. I feel better about reaching out when I need it.
That's really important. I think a lot of people in stressful times try to solve their own problems and they shut down, when you're to the point of overwhelm. So I'm glad you learned that early in life, because there are more serious things that happen in life. Besides working overnight at a bread factory in Japan, like like your coworkers must have been Japanese. So it's like, oh, The stress of speaking a foreign language, I think for I was going to say our international audience, we have a lot of international viewers right now. It's stressful and it's draining. So I can't imagine like trying to buy groceries in another language, and it might not even have an English translation. Like, how do you know what's in this can? You just have to base it off of the pictures. Anyway, we are almost out of time, so that wraps up our discussion for today. Unless that wraps up our discussion. So we're gonna move on to our shout out section. I don't know if our Korea Tech can play the bumper.
Hello.
Hi.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Happy birthday. Congratulations. I have to shout out.
Mom, Dad, best friend. All right. So first up, we have Diane. Do you have any shout outs?
Shout out to my parents, brother Alvin and sister Sheila, and to the brethren over there in High Point, North Carolina. And also shout out to my best friend, Ann Denogan from Guam.
Nice. All right. What about you, Layla?
I want to do a shout out to my family, my mom Almira and my sisters Amy and Flo. And I also want to do a shout out to my friend Isa. She's also from New Jersey. Maybe she's listening.
Oh, I was gonna say, do you want to do it in Japanese? But maybe not.
Unless you want to.
I know. Like, will she understand you if you shout them out in Japanese?
I'm not sure.
All right, we'll skip it that one. All right. What about you, Jeff?
Okay, of course, got to greet my home area of Bergen. Showing everyone Bergen love, and everyone gives some Bergen love back. And also greetings to and from the Fernandez families. Have to greet, of course, someone here. And have some birthdays coming up, too. So happy birthday to my cousin, Marie Blanco. Happy birthday to Jasmine de Guzman, Cherry Antonio, Natasha Esguerra, David Chin, Lacan Evangelista, and our very own Grace Evangelista. Happy birthday.
Oh, happy birthday, Grace. All right. My shout outs are for the commenters in our team live chat. So I want to say hello to Brother Ramil, Brother Bernard, Brother Jerome, Sister Lynn, and Sister Isla. We also want to say hello to Junalyn Sariweda, first commenter all the way from Kamanava in the Philippines. I don't know where that is, but all right. We also want to say hi to Mario Oka from Brixtonville in Caloocan North. Also, Sally San Martin from Babanwang, Isabella West. Oh, what a mouthful. And we also want to say hello to Jennifer Trinidad from Long Beach, Orange County, California. We also have someone named Almond Butter Jelly. Does anyone know who this is? Well,
Maybe they're one of the bakeries that either Diane or Layla
They're
worked
from
at.
Stanford. They're from Stanford. So thanks for tuning in. And then Prince Manabat from Sampaguita in Kamanava as well. We also want to say hello to Sister Melka Nukub all the way from Mountain States. Hope you're staying cool. We hear it's really hot out there. We also want to say hello to Jerome Laksamana from North New Jersey, and also Furman Yalang from North New Jersey, and my mom, Gigi Fajardo, all the way there in Bayonne. Brother Jeff, I think we're moving on to our next segment. We're almost out of time.
Leah, can
Yeah.
I also shout out Local Philadelphia for celebrating their 10-year anniversary?
Oh, yes,
Congrats,
of course.
Philadelphia.
Happy anniversary, Philadelphia. All right, Jeff, let's go on to our next segment.
And speaking of Philadelphia, I think there's some action, so we have to go to our CFO in action.
CFO in action.
The Binhi members in the district gathered enthusiastically for their monthly meeting, eager to explore the topic of seeking greater gifts from God. As they shared their thoughts and experiences, they realized that seeking spiritual gifts such as wisdom, faith, and discernment was essential for their growth and service to others by being officers in the church. They discussed how these gifts would enable them to navigate life's challenges, make a positive impact on their communities, and deepen their relationship with God. Through lively discussions and heartfelt prayers, the youth were encouraged to seek God's gifts with faith and humility, trusting that He would empower them to fulfill their purpose and make a difference in the world. Members of the local congregation of Elizabeth continue to do good to their fellow men through a recently conducted INC Giving activity, the INC Giving Coastal Cleanup Drive at the Elizabeth Marina. Brethren and officers convened at the Elizabeth Marina to do their part in caring for the environment. They cleaned up trash around the surrounding areas of the marina and contributed to maintaining the marina clean from litter. Most importantly, the brethren helped keep the environment clean and healthy for surrounding members of the community. Through the leadership of Supervising Minister Brother Alex Reyes, the brethren in the District of New Jersey continue to do their part in helping their fellow men, and above all, they continue to unite with the church administration in various INC giving activities launched inside the Church of Christ. And this was our CFO in action last week. From the District of New Jersey, this is Sister Grace Evangelista. More on CFO in action next week. See ya!
And see you there at our future activities. I think there's some kind of stuff going on this weekend, right, Leah? Can you mention that?
Yeah, well, it's actually for next week. And yeah. Oh, no, you're right. June 24. Sorry. I was like, is that right? June 24 at 8:30 p.m. We have our CBI, our Students Career Orientation. All right. And I think we have to close out, Jeff. We're out of time. Or I know we're always out of time.
Womp womp. Yeah, it was so interesting, and seriously, everyone, we really wish, and thank you so much, Diana and Layla, for joining us. And that's it for today's show. Thank you to everyone who tuned in, and we'd like to thank our church administration for showing their continued support to INC Radio and allowing us to have this show so we can stay connected and learn together and spend this time with one another. Thank you to our beloved executive minister, Brother Eduardo Manalo, and our CFO coordinator, Brother Angelo Aranyo Manalo.
And before we say goodbye, we again thank all our viewers for taking the time to watch the show. And thanks again to Diane and Layla for joining us today and sharing their stories. We hope today's topic has given our students and their circle of support some ideas and direction on picking their college major. See you on the next episode. Bye, everybody.